This video is about decimal and percent equivalent. So if we look at $1, to write it with a decimal point, put our dollar sign, we do 1.00. Now, if we think of percent, this is one whole dollar. So we write that as 100%. Let's look at this. So if we've got 25 cents, if we write these all as decimals, 0.25, they're all the same thing, 0.25. And then if we add them all together, that is $1. But if we write it as a decimal, it's 1.00. And we know if we add up 25 cents, 4 times, 4 quarters equals $1. So we have 100% as well. We can see that in various different. Go back here, if we think of it, each of these can be written as 25% as well, right? So when we put all 4 of them together, they will equal 100%. We add 25, 50, 75, and 100%. Now, if we're looking at 25 cents, if we write 25 cents as a decimal, and then if we look at 25%, if we look at a percentage, it's actually 25%, because it's 25% of one whole dollar altogether. Now, if we're looking at this, we've got 25% plus 25% plus 25%, so that would be 75%. And when we're looking at it in terms of decimals, 0.25 plus 0.25 plus 0.25. If we add those all together, that's 0.75. So we can see here that 0.75 is equal to 75%, which makes sense. That's 75% of a dollar, and we have 75 cents. Now, let's look at this big chart here. So if we're looking at decimals, if we have these 2 quartered together, we know that's 50 cents. We could write it like this, or we could write it like this, and that's 50%. If we're looking here at the next one, if we've got 25 plus 1 more is 26, what would that be as a percentage? Now, you're going to continue to fill out this worksheet. You've got it in front of you, so that's your task. Now we're looking at here, if we've got 1, 2, 3 cents, how do we write that? And how do we write it as a percentage? So do we write it like this, 0.30, or do we write it 0.03? And the same thing over here. So would this box right here, is this 30% or 3%? There's a difference. Looking at the bottom one as well, it's $1.01. So as a decimal, how do we write that? And as a percentage, that one's a bit tricky there. It will be over 100%, right? Because we know $1 is 1%.